exploring the hidden worlds of our solar system. Where could life be hiding? We have spent centuries looking up at the night sky, wondering if we're alone. But what if we're looking in the wrong direction? What if the first alien life we discover isn't on some distant exoplanet hundreds of light years away? What if it's right here, hidden beneath kilometers of ice, trapped inside ancient rocks, floating in clouds of sulfuric acid, or living in an underground ocean where sunlight has never reached? Our solar system contains several worlds that look completely hostile to life. But when we look beneath their surfaces, the story becomes much more interesting. Today, we're going to descend inside 5 of the most fascinating worlds in our solar system: Europa, Enceladus, Titan, Mars, and Venus. We won't just look at what these worlds look like from space. We're going inside them. And by the end, we'll ask the biggest question of all: which one could actually be hiding life? 1. Europa, the alien ocean. Imagine standing on Europa. Above you is Jupiter, enormous, filling much of the sky. Beneath your feet is a shell of water ice, and somewhere below that frozen surface, there may be an ocean containing more water than all of Earth's oceans combined. Europa is one of Jupiter's largest moons. From the outside, it looks like a frozen, barren world. Its surface is covered in cracks, ridges, and enormous reddish streaks. But those cracks are actually one of the reasons scientists became so interested in Europa, because Europa's surface appears to be moving and deforming. Jupiter's enormous gravity repeatedly stretches and squeezes the moon. This process is called tidal flexing. And that flexing generates heat inside Europa, so let's descend. First, we pass through the icy crust. Exactly how thick that ice shell is remains an important scientific question. But eventually, we reach liquid water, a global ocean. And this is where Europa becomes extraordinary, because water alone isn't enough. For life as we know it, we need 3 major ingredients: liquid water, chemistry, and energy. Europa may have all 3. The ocean could interact with a rocky seafloor. And just like hydrothermal systems on Earth, chemical reactions between water and rock could potentially provide energy for microorganisms. There's an important twist, though. There is almost no sunlight down there, so forget plants, forget forests. Forget anything resembling Earth's surface ecosystems. If life exists in Europa's ocean, it might survive using chemical energy instead of sunlight. And that's not science fiction. On Earth, entire ecosystems exist around hydrothermal vents deep beneath the ocean, where sunlight never reaches. So somewhere beneath this frozen moon, there could theoretically be an ecosystem powered by chemistry. And that's why Europa is considered one of the most promising places to search for life beyond Earth. NASA's Europa Clipper mission is currently investigating whether Europa has environments capable of supporting life. It isn't designed to directly detect organisms. Instead, it's trying to determine whether Europa really has the conditions life would need. But Europa isn't even the most compelling ocean world on our list, because next, we're going to Saturn too. Enceladus, the moon that spits its ocean into space. Enceladus is tiny compared with Europa, but sometimes small worlds can hide enormous secrets. Enceladus is covered in ice, and near its south pole are enormous fractures known as the tiger stripes. These cracks, something incredible happens. Jets of water and ice shoot directly into space. Think about what that means. We don't necessarily have to drill through kilometers of ice to investigate Enceladus ocean. The ocean is spraying itself into space. NASA's Cassini spacecraft actually flew through these plumes, and what it found was astonishing. There is a global ocean beneath Enceladus' icy crust. Cassini detected organic compounds. It detected molecular hydrogen, which could potentially provide chemical energy for microorganisms. And in 2023, scientists reported evidence of phosphorus, an important element used by life on Earth. Once again, we have the 3 things astrobiologists care about: water, chemistry, energy. And there may even be hydrothermal activity occurring on the ocean floor. Imagine descending beneath Enceladus ice. You pass through the frozen shell, then enter a dark, salty ocean. Far below, the water meets warm rock. Chemical reactions occur. Hydrogen is produced. And somewhere in this darkness, hypothetical microorganisms could potentially exploit those chemical gradients for energy. But here's the important distinction. We have not found life on Enceladus. Cassini wasn't capable of proving that organisms were living there. What it found was evidence that Enceladus could potentially provide a habitable environment. And that's actually more exciting than it sounds, Because Enceladus gives us something extremely valuable, samples from its hidden ocean, naturally delivered into Space 3. Titan, the world that almost looks alive, now let's travel even farther into the Saturn system. Titan. At first glance, Titan might look strangely familiar. It has clouds, rain, rivers, lakes, seas, and an atmosphere. But there's a catch. Titan is unimaginably cold. Its surface temperature is around minus 179 degrees Celsius or minus 2092 degrees Fahrenheit. And those lakes, they're not made of water. They're made largely of liquid methane and ethane. Titan is basically an alien version of Earth's water cycle. Instead of water evaporating, forming clouds and falling as rain, methane does it. But let's go underground. Beneath Titan's frozen surface is believed to be a vast subsurface ocean. Models suggest this ocean could be tens of kilometers beneath the surface. And Titan gets even stranger. Its atmosphere is filled with complex organic molecules. These aren't proof of life. But organic chemistry is important because it provides some of the raw ingredients from which biology might eventually emerge. Titan is essentially a giant natural chemistry laboratory. NASA's upcoming Dragonfly mission is designed to explore Titan's surface and investigate its complex organic chemistry and potential habitability. But could Titan itself have life? Possibly. And here's where things get really weird. Scientists have considered two completely different possibilities. The first is familiar, life based on liquid water, potentially somewhere beneath Titan's icy crust. The second is much more speculative. Could something resembling life function in Titan's extremely cold methane-rich environment? We don't know, and we have no evidence that such life exists. But Titan forces astrobiologists to ask an important question. What if life doesn't have to look like Earth life? Mars, the world that lost its oceans, now we come closer to home. Mars. Unlike Europa, Enceladus, and Titan, Mars doesn't currently have a planet-wide ocean sitting beneath its surface. But Mars may have once been dramatically different. Billions of years ago, Mars appears to have had rivers, lakes, and other environments involving liquid water. Then something changed. Mars lost much of its atmosphere. The surface became colder and drier, and the world we see today emerged. But here's the fascinating part. What if life appeared on Mars when conditions were better? And what if some of it survived, not on the surface, but underground? Let's descend beneath Mars. The surface is exposed to intense radiation and extreme conditions. But the deeper we go, the more protected the environment becomes. There could potentially be ice or water-bearing minerals underground. And beneath the surface, the environment could be radically different from the barren landscape above. Mars also has something Earth has: a rocky interior, a crust, a mantle, and a core. NASA's InSight lander studied the planet's interior using Marsquarks, allowing scientists to investigate the structure of Mars' crust, mantle, and core. And this matters for astrobiology. Because the interior of a planet controls its heat, its geology, its volcanic history, and the environments that could potentially provide water and chemical energy, Mars may not be the easiest place to find life today, but it might be one of the most important places to search for evidence of ancient life. And that distinction is huge. We aren't necessarily Mars alive today. We're also asking, was Mars once alive? And if it was, did anything survive? Venus, the planet that looks impossible finally. Venus. If you were choosing a place to search for life based purely on appearances, you probably wouldn't choose Venus. Its surface temperature is around 467 degrees Celsius or 8,726 degrees Fahrenheit. The atmospheric pressure is roughly 93 times Earth's sea level pressure. And the clouds contain sulfuric acid. The surface is essentially hell. But here's the twist. We aren't going to stay on the surface. We're going up. About 50 kilometers above the ground, Venus' atmosphere becomes surprisingly Earth-like in temperature and pressure. Temperatures there can range from roughly 30 to 70 degrees Celsius. That's an environment where certain extreme Earth organisms could potentially tolerate the conditions. Could microbes exist in Venus clouds? It's been proposed. But there is currently no compelling evidence that Venus clouds contain life. So why include Venus in our search? Because Venus may tell us something just as important as discovering life. It may tell us how a potentially habitable world becomes uninhabitable. Venus and Earth are similar in size and structure. Both likely had very different conditions early in their histories. Yet today, Earth is a blue planet covered in life. Venus is a world of crushing pressure and extreme heat. Scientists suspect that Venus may once have had oceans before a runaway greenhouse effect transformed the planet. So when we study Venus, we're not just looking for aliens. We're studying Earth's possible alternate future. The final question, so, where should we look for life? Europa has a huge subsurface ocean. Enceladus has water, organic compounds, phosphorus, and potential chemical energy. Titan has an incredible organic chemistry laboratory and a hidden ocean. Mars has evidence of an ancient watery past and environments that may still exist beneath its surface. And Venus gives us a completely different possibility, life potentially surviving in its clouds, or evidence that life existed during a much more habitable ancient Venus. But there's something these worlds all teach us. Habitability isn't the same thing as life. A world can have water and still be lifeless. It can have organic molecules and still be lifeless. It can have energy and still be lifeless. Even having all the ingredients doesn't guarantee that biology will appear. And that's what makes the search so fascinating. Because right now, Earth is still the only world we know for certain to have life. We have never looked into an alien ocean and watched something swim past. We've never found a Martian fossil that unquestionably came from a living organism. We've never collected a sample from Venus clouds and seen alien cells. We haven't done any of that yet. But we're getting better at asking where to look. And maybe the first discovery won't be a little green creature. Maybe it'll be something much smaller, a molecule, a chemical pattern, a fossil, or a tiny biological signature hidden inside an icy plume. And if we ever find it, the biggest discovery in human history might not be millions of light years away. It might be hiding in our own cosmic backyard, because the universe has given us billions of worlds to search. But before we search the stars, maybe we should finish exploring the worlds next door. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe to Stellar Lab and comment your opinion on whether you think that life could exist in any of these worlds.